Hey guys, welcome to part 5 of Let's Play Pokemon SoulSilver for the DS. In the last part we beat the gym leader, we went to the ruins, we caught a new Pokemon, and then we started exploring the rest of this route. Oh yeah, and we got an egg! And we also met some weird what are those girls called? Geisha girls, whatever. So yeah, we did a lot in the last part. So obviously this part it's going to be a bit slower. Or we're not going to do as much because really all we're doing in this part is making our way to the next city, and to do that you just have to go through this route and then a cave and boom, you're there, top marks. You did a great job. So yeah, once again it's still at night and I'll just be taking on a lot of trainers really. I mean, it's something you're going to notice in this part, especially in later parts. Okay, so there's a new system where you have a telephone, which was in the original as well, where if anybody or certain people in the world will say, hey, that was a cool battle, I really liked the way that you set my Rattata alight, that was awesome. If you ever want to battle again, can I give you a call? And you can either say yes or no, and if you say yes, then you get their number in there and you can call them up. And also they will call you up at arbitrary points in the game. I don't know exactly how it works, if it's done by steps or what. I'm assuming it's done by steps, or what level your Pokemon are. So yeah, so you can actually rebattle trainers, which is a really cool system because it means that for training up Pokemon, because when you go back and fight them, their Pokemon would have been a higher level. So if you get the numbers of the right people, then you can actually have a lot easier time training. When you learn fly, that is, because of course you have to fly to all these different places to fight them. But for the sake of this LP, I'm going to say no to every single one, just because they're only around for the sake of training. You can also get items from people, like that's one of the ways that you need to get a Firestone. You have to befriend someone and have them call you like a couple of times, and then you get a Firestone, they just give you one. But I'm not going to do it because it's an LP and it's only for training, so I don't need to train. Any training I can do off screen. So I don't want this playthrough to be constantly interrupted by people calling me up. So I'm going to say no to every single one. But when you say no to these people, it's so they have to make it sting. They can't just say, oh okay, fair enough, or oh, right, if you're busy, then you're busy. They can't just say something like that. They have to say something horrible. Like that woman before, or the picnicker before, the first battle, said, oh, I just want to be your friend. And this guy says something even more depressing, which we'll see once I've beaten him. He just has a Goldeen, which... Goldeen's one of those Pokemon that they always change the appearance of in every game, I think. Like a lot of first-gen Pokemon, they always like radically change the appearance of in each game. Like Zubat. In the 4th gen of Zubat, or in Pearl and Diamond and Platinum, he has his wings down and he looks different, and Tentacle looks really different as well in each generation. So, but yeah, so you beat this guy, you beat Ralph, you know, you have a nice battle, you kick his ass, it's all a good time. But then of course, I don't want his number because I don't want to battle him again, and he just says, my own kids won't even give me their numbers. What? Why bestow that upon me? That's so depressing. That his own kid doesn't even have his number, and now you, some friend he wants to, or some person he wants to befriend, is like, no, you can't have my number. But again, it is pretty creepy just giving out your number to every person you meet, so yeah. So yeah, in this route it's actually kind of split in two. You have the left side, which is all grass and just a standard route, and then you have this right side, which is all the water trainers, or the fishermen and these planks to walk on. So it's pretty nice that they have this early in the game, because of course in the first gen you have to beat like at least 3 gyms. I think from Lavender Town you can go into a route like this. So again, it's just another example of how the second generation takes what the first generation did and then just like goes with it more. So just in this is like the second proper route, or this. Okay, it's not. I don't know why I said that, but this is like you've only beaten the first gym badge and you already have a route with all this kind of stuff in. And so yeah, obviously I could have just avoided these fishermen quite easily, it would have been fine, but I have the fluff that I need to level up, and it's an electric type, so I'll kind of be crazy to not take up this opportunity to kill all these water types. Because even though the fluff doesn't learn Thunder Shock straight away, which I thought was odd, Pikachu has Thunder Shock straight away, but the fluff, or Mareep, has Tackle. But obviously I just learned Thunder Shock in the previous battles, so yes, that's why I'm along this side just kicking everyone's ass. Also, it's pretty nice that in this version of the game they added in extra 3D effects. Like, they just added in a highway above. I guess the world of Pokemon isn't that industrial, but for some reason the further you go into the generations, the more industrial they make it. Which is a big example of that is how in Black and White 2 you actually start in a city for the first time, and then you see everything's kind of been built up and it's just more industrial. So, and yeah, the reason I'm showing this Pokemon Center visit is because you can go talk to this fisherman again, Old Rod. Now, of course, it's pointless to get this Old Rod, but it's so easy to get, I thought I might as well get it. Because the Old Rod, in this generation anyway, I believe you can only catch Magikarp with it. And I've already said, or stated in other LPs, I know that Magikarp is really good because it evolves into Gyarados, and Gyarados is like one of the best water Pokemon. I think it's water and flying for some reason. So yeah, so it's a really good thing to go for, but other than that, you don't need it. It's just nice to get the Old Rod. And see, already, we're at the end of this route, and Mareep is pretty much, or the fluff is pretty much the right level that I need the fluff to be. I'm having such a nice time training my Pokemon up than I usually do in games. Or in Pokemon games, because usually I can have a really rough time just training up a Pokemon, but no. I don't know if it's just because I've played so much Pokemon now that I'm just used to training up my Pokemon, but I don't know, I've just been having a nice time doing it. And it's kind of a shame that I think Black and White 2 were the first games to introduce the whole idea that, because in this, obviously the way you want to train your Pokemon, I don't really need to explain this, but I've got a lot of time. You send out your weak Pokemon, and then you switch it for a stronger one, and then the XP gets shared. But it's pretty interesting that in Pokemon Black and White 2, well, I find it interesting, okay, I think it's interesting. It depends on what level your Pokemon are, is how the XP is split. So it's kind of weird. So in that game it's really easy to train Pokemon, but I also had a pretty easy time training Pokemon here. Maybe it's because all the Pokemon in that route are just weak, I don't know. So this is kind of something that makes the second gen not that original, or makes it just hark back to the first gen. You're going for a rock cave here, or Union Cave. And I guess they wanted you to actually feel like you've travelled some distance to get to this next city. I guess that's why this cave is here, because that just having that one route be really long wouldn't be enough. But it's, you know, it's a cave. You have to do a route or fight a load of trainers and then go through a cave. Exactly the same as the first gen, where you had to go through that route and then go through Mount Moon. And nothing happens in this cave. It's literally just a cave that you have to go through. I believe once you learn Surf, you can come back here and find extra areas. But of course I won't be doing that. Maybe one of the legendaries is in here. I don't know. That sounds like something they would do. And sorry that I'm leaving in all these wild battles. It pretty much shows if you completely skipped out on Rock Cave, that was in that first route back in part 3 I think, and then you're like, darn, I want a Geodude. Maybe you say a more stronger swear word than that, you're angry, you wanted a Geodude. You can just catch one in here, but you can just catch a Rattata in here as well, and I believe Zubat. And I think you can catch an Onix in here as well. Of course, I didn't want random Pokemon always showing up, and once I realised that it was just normal, old Pokemon that we've all seen before, I just used a Repel. So pretty much, even though you have to get Repels if you want to go through this cave without too much annoyance. And also, I got really confused because, well, when I was playing this at first, because I didn't realise that this gap that I'm going through is a gap that you could go through. So off screen, I spent ages just being lost in this cave because I didn't realise that gap is a gap. I'm not sure if I've talked about this before or already in this Let's Play, but like with graphics and the way graphics are, because as graphics get more advanced, it's more confusing to navigate a graphically superior world. It just is. So yeah, I always kind of get tripped up by small things like that. Like in the originals, in the Game Boy version, it was super clear where you couldn't walk, but not in this one. Not to the point where it's a problem, just to a point where the game makes me look stupid as I play it. I just feel like an idiot. I'm like, of course I can walk down there to that trainer. Of course I can do that. Why was I thinking otherwise? It's also kind of odd about this cave, or for me when I played it, is that I don't have anything that's super effective against rock types. So it's kind of useful to have something that's super effective against rock types, you know, water type, grass type. But I got through the cave just fine. It was just weird that I didn't have that, because usually I would either pick Totodile for this game, so I would just burn through this cave using him, or I would, I don't know, get a Bellsprout. I definitely know I have got a Bellsprout for this game. Actually, one disadvantage I believe about getting a Bellsprout, sorry to go a bit off topic, I'm still talking about Pokemon. You need a Grass Stone to evolve Weeping Bell into Victory Bell, but I believe that the shop in this generation, for no apparent reason, doesn't sell evolutionary stones. It's why I mentioned before about how to get a Firestone you have to go talk to that guy and befriend him. I mean, I don't know why. This generation is weird because there's so many different ways to get Pokemon and to evolve them, and it feels like it was made for the internet. That it feels like it was made for people to go onto like some sort of website to look up certain things, because otherwise you're just not going to know it, because there's so many different ways that you could evolve a Pokemon. When really, with the internet, it makes this game still enjoyable, because you can just look up, if you want a particular type of Pokemon, you can just look it up and be like, oh, I can get a Leaf Stone to evolve Weeping Bell to Victory Bell from over here, or in this route. But if you didn't have a guide or an internet when playing this, there's just so much of the game that you're going to miss out on. And there's so many, you know, this playthrough is not going to feature every Pokemon you can catch, or every single particular thing you can see in this game. It's a massive game, and there's so many different types, and so many different things to have to do to evolve it, that I don't know, it kind of puts me off. But again, we're living in the internet age where I can just look it up. Because when I played through Heart Gold, I caught a Growlithe, and I needed to evolve it, but it took me forever. Speaking of fire types evolving though, back on what's actually going on screen, York is finally evolving. Now, I think some people, not many, would pick Cyndaquil because it evolves the earliest. The other two, this was the first starter to evolve before 16. Maybe Bulbasaur does, but I don't think so. And yeah, because I think it's only level 14 and it's already evolved into Quillarva. York's already evolved, it's pretty nice, but it's really not necessary at all. You know, it's nice because that's it, Ivysaur evolves into Venusaur early at level 32, and that's really nice because it's nice to have a stronger Pokemon at that point in time, because the game gets pretty hard later on. But at this point in time you don't need your Pokemon evolving early, so Cyndaquil's still a great choice to pick, but just don't pick your starter based on when it first evolves. That's my advice, people. I'm letting you know my great Pokemon knowledge. Now you know the secrets. But here's the thing, the Fluff is now poisoned, and in the 5th gen they took out poison damage as you walk. But of course I guess this technically makes it the last game where it's in it. But instead, what they did, I'm going to keep on walking, the Fluff should hopefully die soon so I can make my point. Oh, Repel wore off. There we go, it doesn't kill them anymore. Which means that all you have to do, if you have an injured Pokemon that's poisoned, is run around in a circle. When the poison goes, just use a potion to heal it back up to full health. Which is nice that it doesn't completely die, because there will be a lot of times where you just don't have a revive, or when you're stuck in the later parts of the game, it's a really nice thing not to have to worry about it. So here's Hoppip, which I might have talked about before. It's a good Pokemon, or it's really hard to train when it's lower level, or when it's like a Hoppip, but once it evolves it becomes pretty good. I considered using it as a grass type actually, I'm not too sure why I didn't. Oh, I know why, because I already have 4 Pokemon, so it really would just be overkill if I also caught a Hoppip at this point. Like, having 5 Pokemon in your party before the 2nd gym, that's just overkill. There's just no need for it, so I've made my choices, I'm pretty happy with them. And also, a grass type would not be useful against the next gym, so... But uh-oh, trouble is afoot, we have Team Rocket in the area, and that's just no good. Because this is the next town. Although I think Fire City was a city, right, and this is a town, and I'm pretty sure they're the same... Like, they're the same size. Weird. But yeah, Team Rocket's in this game, and they're just as evil as they were before. Because I think all the teams are silly, but Team Rocket was definitely the most evil, and I'm assuming that's because later on the philosophy of Pokemon changed, or the way they make them, to make them more happy and more about like, yay, woo! Everything is smiles and sunshine. So, but in the first 2 gens they had Team Rocket and they were just evil, because what they're doing here is cutting off Slowpoke tails and selling them for hard cash. Because Team Rocket's motivation is money. Team Magmas were trying to just fight each other and create a world of water or land, weird motives. Team Galactic was to create a new universe that they controlled, that didn't really work. And Team Plasma were just mixed. They were like trying to help Pokemon, but the leader wasn't, he was just using them. Spoilers for that generation. But Team Rocket just evil, want money, so it's just... Imagine that in the anime. Imagine if they added that in the anime and they had this animation of Team Rocket like, yes, we're... I don't know why he talks like Pain. We're us, now we are in the well where the Slowpokes are. We will capture them all and cut off all their tails. Like in the anime they would plan that, and then Ash would just totally kick their ass before they could do it. But in this one they've already done it. You can talk to Slowpoke in this cave and look at them, and they'll say, and you'll be like, it's a Slowpoke. It looks like its tail's been cut off, and that must be horrendous. And then the idea that people are actually buying them and eating them, like straight away in this game, they make Team Rocket really evil. Although on the face of it, as a kid, I didn't really think about it that much. You know, of course, it was like, oh, Team Rocket's up to no good. Oh, they're harming Pokemon, those devils. And then you really think about it. Imagine if, like, imagine if they did that, like an organisation doing that in real life. Just, it's probably out there, I don't know, and Slowpoke's unreal, but just catching an animal with a tail, cutting off its tail and selling that to eat, and being like, oh, we just let the animal go without a tail because we're just horrendously evil. Because there is also, like in the Pokemon games, there is that background kind of like animal rights kind of background thing. Like most people probably don't see it, but it is kind of there. But in just Team Rocket is so evil. But of course you only have to, this isn't like a main Team Rocket event or set piece. You only have to take about 3 of them out and the leader. So it's not like a big set piece, but it's a pretty nice introduction to Team Rocket, or them being in this game. And it is kind of surprising if you didn't know they were in this game and this was the first time you played this generation, you know. Especially if you played the other ones first, you had no idea that Team Rocket would return. They're the only team that has returned, so yeah. Team Rocket's rep, oh those guys. But yeah, no problems with these grunts, you should have no problems. It's still, this whole section is just a really great place to train. Everything I've done in this section, you can just catch a new Pokemon and train it out pretty easily. Because this whole section, you're just facing like weak trainers, pretty much. So we're coming towards the end of the part, so next time in Let's Play Pokemon SoulSilver for the DS, I will take on the leader, who is in charge of cutting off the Slowpoke tails, and hopefully take on the gym. So I've been Aston23, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you for the next part.